All right, I'm Brian Miller with City Pages, here with a star of stage screen, and I can only assume headboard, Fancy Ray McClooney. He's the self-described most beautiful man in comedy. I'm not going to argue with that. He's also a pitchman extraordinaire and a great comedian, and he's here to tell us about a little beef he's got with Comcast.
Well, I'm not the self-described best-looking man in comedy. I am the best-looking man in comedy, the human chocolate orchid, and the world's greatest television pitchman. If you got bad credit, no credit, even a bankruptcy, I can put you in the vehicle today. My.
I think you just sold me a car.
I sold you something, baby.
You sold me something.
I ain't seen no money come out of your pocket, brother. And that's when I know it's working. Yes. I'm having a major disagreement and battle with Comcast Cable. I own an advertising agency. Now let me explain something to you, Brian. People know me, Fancy Ray, as a pitchman because I am the world's greatest pitchman. But what I do is I own an advertising agency, and what I do is I write, direct, and produce TV commercials, and my company puts the ads on the air. Now, everyone in the Twin Cities saw Fancy Ray's billboards for USI Wireless, where they proclaimed our prices are so low that the only celebrity we could get was Fancy Ray. $14.95 internet, which is the best deal in town. Comcast Cable saw the billboards and approached me and said, hey, let's get that client, let's get some of that client money on Comcast Cable. And meaning advertising, let's make them a TV commercial. So we made this fantastic TV commercial where we're pitching this $14.95 internet. It was supposed to go on the air November 17th. The day before it goes on November 16th, they called me and said they're not going to allow the advertising on the air because it competes with one of their product lines. And it was capricious, it's discriminatory, and it's B as in B and S as in S, and it's un-American, and it's competition. America is built upon competition and upon fair trade. That means, Brian, if I say I'm the best looking man in comedy, you can say you're the best looking man in comedy. We'll let the camera decide.
I don't want to fight that fight, I'll tell you.
Exactly. And if I got cable, then you got cable. But see, what happens is Comcast has a monopoly of cable in Minneapolis. So you mean to tell me that they're not going to allow competition on their airways? What about the fact that they advertise on broadcast television? What about Netflix? What about that's a fair trade? Everyone is out trying to make the most money possible. And so what we want to do is have an opportunity to let every voice be heard, everything be said and shown, and then let the public decide who's got the best. If you want cheap internet, then go get the cheap internet at USI Wireless. If you want Comcast, that's the big company. Then go to Comcast. It's unfair on a lot of different levels. I'm talking, but go.
What can we do about this? What do you think our next move is?
Well, the folks out there watching is what I want to say. What I want you to do is number one is awareness. If you haven't seen the commercial, you're gonna link this up. Hopefully, you're gonna show it on the YouTube.
Yeah, we can do that.
Fancy Ray is banned by Comcast on YouTube. And what I would like to ask folks to do is to leave a comment on the YouTube and let folks know. Write Comcast a letter. I mean, if you really want to do something, write Comcast a letter. I'm trying to articulate that I'm a little African-American owned advertising agency. I'm a guy trying to make a living like everyone else is trying to make a living, and they're squashing my ability to make a living. This client and contract is fantastic. It's a great opportunity, and I want to reach out and let folks know that what they're doing is wrong. It's wrong with a capital wrong, and I can't really say how wrong I think it is, but I will say this: it's wrong because it's un-American. We don't believe in censorship. Who out there, if you're watching, and someone said left a comment, well, I shouldn't advertise my competition, but the city granted them a monopoly on the city of Minneapolis. Well, we should have fair trade. How unfair is that to say we're not going to allow our competition to advertise on our air? Doesn't even make sense to me.
And from a Minneapolis businessman.
All local, from a Minneapolis, who's a man of color, who takes a stand for little poor black, white, red, brown, and yellow, who lifts folks up, who has a message of change and courage. We got Obama in the White House, and we got this BS going on in Minneapolis. It's un-American. I mean, it's something that you should be we don't believe in censorship. I mean, City Pages is an alternative newspaper. We're all about freedom. We're all about letting every voice be heard, and then let the public decide where they want to go. If you want to pay $30 for internet, go to Comcast. If you want cheap internet, go to USI. My. That's what I got to say, man.
I think that about does it. So I think you should go to the YouTube page. Yes. You should leave a comment. You should talk to Comcast, right?
Yeah, and to find it, just punch in Fancy Ray and USI, and you can find the commercial on YouTube. They're going to link it up. You're going to see it anyways. And let your voice be heard. Just let them know we are not going to stand for this black black man in Minneapolis being put down. It ain't a thing of black, it's not a thing of color, but I am a man of color who stands up for little black, the man that ran for governor, the man that you see on TV, the man that everyone loves, the one man that every man wants to touch, the man that who feels good and makes you feel good, who wants to come out and tell you and tell Comcast this is unfair, we're not going to stand for it, we're going to lift our voices and be heard and stop this capricious discrimination on the part of the giant against the little black guy in the Twin Cities.
Hard to argue. Fancy Ray McClunny. I'm Brian Miller for City Pages. Thanks for watching.
Much love. My.